So we're back with Stefana, 33-year-old Stefana, who is looking to get some clarity on Ben, who's 25 years old, the fact that they had a great relationship, solid, no issues, sounds like the best of friends, plus other good stuff and the whole shebang, and yet he wasn't ready and wasn't able to commit. There are some things here that are difficult because Ben told you that he, and here's semantics here because I want to hear from you. Did he say he doesn't feel you are the one, or he doesn't think you are the one?
Oh, gosh. To be honest, I can't remember, but I think it was, I think.
Okay. And that may seem, again, like semantics, but you understand the connotation. Because when a man is in the state of being a consumer, he's in his mind about it and his thoughts. He's not ready to commit for all the criteria of, not being in the right space, of career, of money, even avocation or vocation. But what must be there for the man is that undying feeling of love and desire for the woman. And that is a major part of the criteria. Now, it won't trump the other criteria in most cases. So in other words, if a man is totally in love, but he doesn't have his career where he wants it to be, he doesn't have the money he needs, he doesn't have a great place to live, he's not in the environment in any way, shape, or form of taking on a pretty puppy as a responsibility he sees commitment as being, he won't do it. The love alone, no matter how strong, most typically won't trump those other factors. I'm hearing, however, job that he likes, just bought a home, and that he is unclear whether his feelings for you are strong enough to go the distance.
Yeah, he had a great career, or has a great career. He had just bought a house, and that's something I brought up to him. When we had that conversation, or the last conversations of these commitment talks, is, I know you're not afraid of commitment because buying a house for 30 years is a commitment, in itself. And I had just taken that test that you just this past week on your website about the consumer and buyer, and I first did the test based off of, I guess, like the last half of our relationship, and I got the mixed messages consumer for him. But then when I thought about the first part of our relationship, before I even brought up the whole holiday thing, it was a prospective buyer.
And that makes a lot of sense. Absolute sense.
Yeah.
And it's why these, what we look back on as missteps, are so hard.
Yeah. Just coming across you and all of your philosophies and everything, I so many things have come to light, and things I had done wrong in this relationship, and it makes sense. It just started a file of facts of all the guys I've dated. It's just, like you said in a couple of your podcasts, like putting him in the family way, and I was doing that. I had been doing that in all of my past relationships, and it's kind of disheartening almost in a way, because I felt like I wasn't doing anything wrong, but I guess I am in a way that I didn't even know I was doing.
And that's why, it's very important that you forgive yourself for it.
Yes.
right? Because when you don't know, you don't know. And now
Yes.
you're getting the knowing.
Yeah.
And so it's important, I think, for our listeners to understand what it is that you know now. And that's why I want to go over it a little bit. If, for example, when I say the family way, you felt up until Thanksgiving, he asked you to come to his Thanksgiving first, correct?
He did, yes. I never brought it up to him, but yeah, he did ask.
Excellent. So, see, you did something really right there. You never brought it up with him. I also want to give you kudos for what you did in the beginning. If we go back to when he said, so something about being online still, having your profile up. And
yeah,
tell me again what he said about that.
Yeah, he just asked me if you were still dating any other guys, which I had been. Not as much as I was seeing him, but I was still talking to other guys and had been on a date or two with a couple others, and he just, mentioned like, yeah, if you find someone else or this isn't something you want, please, just be honest with me and let me know. And that's when I said, well, asked him that question, is that something you want? And he said no. And I'm like, well, then what do you want? And he's like, to be together. And I'm like, okay, then let's do this.
Excellent. You handled that beautifully.
I thought so.
Yes, you did. And this is what the really tricky thing about it is that when the man starts to get all that he wants, two things happen. First, he doesn't feel the need as much to have to achieve. And if you know from my podcast videos on YouTube, etc., that men love through wondering and longing, as well as having to achieve a woman's time, attention, and affection. So it's very, very tricky because it's to the degree that we give them what they want, and it's also through showing them instead of telling them. You said you had a lot of discussions about your relationship.
It more towards the end.
Gotcha.
And it was him bringing it up, actually, which, I have to give him credit. Like, he's given me a way out in that way, I guess, and being honest with me. I feel like no other guy would have done that, I guess, in the past. Because here I am just going along. Like, I'm thinking, time, I'm going to change him. He had said that to me right before Thanksgiving. Like, I don't know if, I'm ready for commitment. And I'm thinking time in my mind. Like, I'll just give him more time. We'll just keep dating, And so I never really brought it up again. But then that's when he brought it up after the holidays, New Year's. And that's when we broke up because he brought it up again and was still unsure.
Mm-hmm. And you did the right thing. When a man is unsure, it's when you take your leave. Completely, with absolutely no contact. Because it is the way that, and the only way, that the man will start to feel something different. The only way. It's very different than for us. Exceedingly different than for females. It is the absence for the man. Why is that? So simple to know. What does absence do? It makes a man wonder.
Yes. However, he hasn't reached out to me. And I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know what to do in this. Yeah.
Right.
No.
Well, a couple of missteps here is that you said, reach out to me in a year.
Yeah.
What did that do? It just completely left him off the hook because he says, oh, I can get back in at any time.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah.
What does that do? It keeps him from having to achieve.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. So that is not something that could easily change. In other words, there is, and this is going to be hard for you to hear, but there is nothing you can do. If you do anything, it won't help you. It will hurt you.
Okay.
And the only caveat to that is that if he sees you on social media, does he at all?
No, because I've deleted him.
Okay. What about on whatever dating app you were on?
I mean, yeah, he might be back on it too. So, yeah, I had just joined it again.
Okay.
I haven't seen him, though. Yeah.
And why I asked you about the social media, and I'm going to explain more for listeners, how it is that you cannot do anything, that anything you would do proactively towards him will backfire. He will be nice to you, perhaps, but it will only keep you in the place that you're in right now, meaning that he will feel ho-hum about it. He might even see you to have sex with you. I doubt he sounds like a good guy, but he might. And he will feel nothing more. Because what happened was the taking away the need to achieve. He achieved you.
Yeah.
And you knew, and here's why you have to give yourself a lot of credit and also give yourself a break and not be hard on yourself. Because in the beginning, he was showing himself to be a prospective buyer. This was before you invited him for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the invite alone, and why I tell women about and do videos on invites. Invites seem innocuous. They are not. For men, they are not at all. And quite frankly, when he makes an invite, usually it's not innocuous either. In other words, his invite to you for Thanksgiving meant something. It meant a great deal. You took it, but then, you see, without him committing, a la all the way engagement, you invited him for Christmas. That seemed innocuous. That seemed, well, you invited me for Thanksgiving, I'll invite you for Christmas. Understandable misstep. Completely understandable. But it's how hard we have to be the worthy opponent in order to succeed. Everything must be mindful. And that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you could go back, that might have been a game changer. Simply because he would not have achieved. It changed everything for him. It suddenly brought him back to reality in a way. Like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm going down the road of complete commitment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have to, as I said, give yourself credit for the things that were really right. Here's another big takeaway. You had said early on that, when things were really going swimmingly between the time you first had sex and Thanksgiving, he told me he wanted the same things. That's a really important point. And this is how it's important. When a man tells you he wants the same things, if he's not adding at the end with you, looking you in the eyes with you, we cannot correlate whatever he is saying to us. Because I have no doubt, he wants a long-term relationship, he wants a girlfriend, he wants commitment, he wants to marry, he wants to have kids, whatever it is. That's true for him. But we can in no way correlate it to us until such time as he looks you in the eyes and says, with you, and or gets down on one knee and proposes. That's the harsh reality.
Yeah. But it kind of comes back to what you said about the mindfulness on that. It's like, I didn't think about that before, and that makes total sense.
Right. And we don't, because we are wrapped up in the feelings.
Yes.
And even in the moment, he might be feeling it's you, but it's interesting, we must listen to the actual words. And that's why I say, unless it is absolutely with you when looking at you, and even then, until he's made a formal public commitment whereby he needs to live by that decision, it's likely can go off the rails very easily because men live via their decisions. He's not ready to make that decision for whatever his reasons. But you see, it turned into, then he became a mixed messages consumer.
Yeah.
So for you, there's a number of things that must happen now for you to move forward and really move forward.
I said, yeah, what do I need to do?
Well, I'm going to give it to you in a couple of ways, because I know one is you would like to have him back. That would be your ultimate.
Absolutely.
But you want him back fully invested and knowing you are the one.
Correct.
And in order to have that happen, you must commit to you never reaching out to him.
Yeah. I fully understand. I fully understand that and have kind of come to that conclusion.
My guess is that he will need to go through whatever is going to come his way in terms of other relationships, being a consumer. And since you two were such a great fit, if he goes through problematic relationships, he may, as time goes on, realize, wow, I miss that kind of real companionship and compatibility. I should revisit that, perhaps, and see how I feel now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the rub on it. You will need to be different and play it differently in order for it to be different. In other words, not just him be different, you will also need to be different.
How do you mean? Or what do you mean?
Right, the devil's in the details. It's also what my Lure Him Back program is about, because it is through the changing the way you approach things, certainly the way you take him back. And I mean not just take him back in the full sense of a relationship, but even deign to engage with him. We have to ramp up his desire for you. How do we do that? Simple. Ramp up his achievement. That means that when he first contacts you, what do? He may not. Many times I can tell a woman, oh, I know for sure he will be contacting you. It's just a matter of when. I can't tell you when. It could be 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 10 years. I can't tell you when, but I would go to the bank and bet on that he will. In your case, I cannot tell you that. And that may sound really harsh, but unfortunately, I can't tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, in the past, I have had all of my other exes reach out to me because I do, pretty basically cut off contact completely. So I would like to think that he would be coming back to me. And it kind of gives me some hope, but at the same time, I have to go on living my life as well.
Here's why I don't think you will be hearing from him anytime soon, and why you must be seriously circumspect if you do. I mean, you have to play this in the right way to have a real shot again, or you'll end up right back where you are. What do you think you relayed to him when you told him, check with me in a year?
Well, what I said was, I don't know if I said this before, after I said, call me in a year, we'll see where I'm at, kind of a thing. So, yeah, for him to, it's just basically call me in a year if you have grown up and figured out what you want, and we'll see where I'm at. That's what I meant. And that's what I ended it with. I said, we'll see where I'm at.
I understand your take on it, and that's what you were trying to convey to him. But here's what the man hears. I love you. I'm likely going to wait. You've got all of me. When you come back, I'll likely take your call. I'll be here. All manner of that stuff. You didn't mean that, but in a way, you did. And what I mean, from the man's point of view, that's all it is. Because it must be for the man with his black and white brain. You don't want me, I don't want you. Anything less leaves him feeling less, and certainly not having to achieve. And when he's not having to achieve, he's not actively loving and not actively desiring. So we must then totally, for you, forget about it. Because you don't know when he will. And I have to say, in this case, I don't know even if. It will take him going through, I believe, a lot of stuff that shows him your value. And that simple desire is not enough. Many, many times, the people we most desire and want, physically, sexually, or in any other way, are not the people we are really compatible with and would do best in marriage. This is an unfortunate truth.
Why is that?
Right? Yeah. You know what? It's a cruel joke. It's a very, very cruel joke. I think if I were to say the existential why of it would be that think about your most passionate relationships. And then think of throwing children into that mix. Not very good for the children. But when you have some serious foundation that isn't predicated on passion or sexuality, when you bring children into that, it's likely a much better pair bonding to raise children. Because ultimately, that's what we are all here for, biologically speaking. And so I believe that it's built in us. And why the male brain has the Madonna-whore dichotomy. Because they absolutely categorize women, either woman just for fun, meaning having sex, and woman to marry and perhaps have children with. That's foundational in the oldest male brain, the reptilian brain. And men categorize us in a nanosecond, and then they look to support their view. When men also get ready, and they know they are ready and in the state of being a buyer, they eschew the women in the second category and go for women in the first. You're in the first category. Your wife, mother material, great woman he could see marrying. And initially the achievement was there enough for him, even though he wasn't really necessarily ready in other ways, but then he got ready. House, he was going to set up a place for you to watch him do his car stuff and all manner of it. But he's conflicted, likely because of his age, and that he can still have, because remember, one of the criteria for being a buyer, has he had enough sexual and fun experiences and had all the other puppy experiences he wants to have had before taking on the responsibility of adopting one. Because they enjoy playing with all the puppies in whatever way, shape, or form they come upon them.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Jealous of how men can live their lives? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just so much more harder. It's just so much more harder for us women. I don't understand why.
Because of our biology. And it is.
Yeah.
And I always said, at birth, what would I choose to be? Hands down, male. Much easier.
Wow.
In so many ways. Now, in other ways, they certainly have societal things upon them that we don't. For example, we can choose whatever we choose to do. You want to be a stay-at-home mom? Great. You want to not really have a vocation and you just work a little job until you find the right man and settle down, and then you stop working. Whatever you want to do. How is that for men? They're judged more harshly in that way. Now, would I swap out the judgment that women get in all manner of ways? Yeah, I would definitely swap that one.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yep. But it is what it is, and if we want to win, and that's what I'm all about here, if we want to win with men, we have to know how they think, feel, what drives them, and so that we have the best chance of getting what it is that we desire and deserve. And ultimately, you see, men are best in committed relationships, and I mean total commitment, because they are best having made a decision.
Yeah.
Studies show men are happiest in marriage. Here's why. It's not mine. I have my 3 C's of men, my 3 C's of women, but the 3 P's of men is that they're here for 3 things: to provide, protect, and procreate. That's it. And that is all about their purpose. Men need a purpose. And they don't do well, single men don't do as well, because they flounder around without a real purpose other than themselves and to be self-serving. And that's why we are circumspect of men who don't commit. I mean, what is the first thing somebody says with a man who is 50-something, he's never been married? Even 40-something, he's never been married. Even 30-something sometime, he's never been married.
Yeah, it's scary.
Right, because we don't know his ability to commit. Because what we know is this: because men love all puppies easily, meaning us, big, small, short, tall, thin, not thin, white, black, red, yellow, they love us all. And there is a good woman out there if he is ready, willing, and able. It is not the same for women. Men are not puppies to us. We don't love them all. We don't want them all. There isn't something about each one of them that we are attracted to in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So a woman, 30-something, 40-something, who's never been married, that says nothing about her.
I mean, I guess, but I've also gotten the question from him even. All his friends who are 25 would ask him, what's wrong with her? You know, like, why is she 33 and has never been married? So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Okay, that's wrong. I don't ever think that for women. Because especially now, for example, we went back 100 years ago, 1920, 21, very, very different time where women had a knowledge of men that was much more foundational, and society fostered them knowing men in a way that is totally turned upside down now. So a woman of 35 in 1921 knew much more than the woman in 2021. We have been sold a huge bill of goods about men and women being the same, wanting the same things, and that we can be the same. We can be male-energied. We can do male things. We can do them, sure, absolutely. You want to be the sexiest vixen there is? You want to be anything from the most puritanical, chaste woman all the way to like a Cardi B, a Miley Cyrus, whatever. You can do it. Isn't that wonderful? You have the freedom to do that.
Yeah.
But while it may somehow work for Hollywood people, and most of the time it doesn't, their relationships last a nanosecond, it doesn't work in the reality of men because of their Madonna-whore dichotomy and because of their black and white thinking. It doesn't work. And that's really sad. We have to know, while we are completely equal, we are complete opposites. Apples and oranges are a completely different fruit. They're both fruit, and they're both equally wonderful. But they are opposites. And it's why we don't compare them, why we don't grow them in the same climates, soils, all manner of things. What we need to grow and foster apple trees are not what we do for citrus groves. I mean, it's the same with men and women. And unfortunately, because we hold that space in the world of making relationships work, we must know and do it, because they are not going to do it. And I'll give you this example. People will say to me, well, you should work with men. I mean, you know them so well, and you know this, that, and the other thing. And I say this to that. It would be, for me to coach men, would be like creating a mechanics course for women, a real car mechanics course for women.
Mm-hmm.
How many women want a mechanics course?
No. Yeah. I do not.
No, I mean, I wouldn't have any clients, because men are not interested. That's the women's realm. They won't do it. They'll just keep consuming the way they always have. They're not going to do it. It is up to the woman to be the mechanic in any relationship to make it go the distance. Ergo, my GPS program, the groom positioning system, because you have to start from the moment you meet a man, connecting each and every dot so that the line goes to where you set your GPS. And it has to be set each and every time you meet a new man, whether you think you're going to want him, like him, desire him, you have to set it there. Because at any time on that line, you just get out. That's fine. But if you start not knowing and the dots are all over the place, you'll never connect the line. If you change it up and you desire him, you can't connect the line. It's too broken. And it really, really sucks. The only way we can do it is through ultimate knowledge, and that we are sold a bill of goods in our society in every single way possible, through our celebrities, social media, films, TV, novels, romance novels. I mean, all manner of, and when you look at the abject load of crap that we are sold. It's funny because something about the old movie Pretty Woman just came up. And you go back to that, it was 1990, I don't know, 1992 or something like that. I mean, it is the ultimate in ridiculous fantasy that so many women buy into.
Yeah.
Because the male brain, in reality, if you've seen the movie, that Richard Gere character would never, and I rarely use hyperbole, but he would just not marry a former prostitute because of the Madonna whore dichotomy. If he had met her in a different way and never knew that, and in other words, if she had stopped that life, think about completely stopped that life, and he ran across her the way he does in the movie and needs directions, and she was as carefree and wonderful as she was, but he never knew that part, there might be a chance. And he never paid her a dime, and she was never, and she did the rulesy type of stuff. Yeah. She could be a poor, poor girl from the backwoods, and he would. But not in the way that was. And it just set, I mean, certainly it happened from the probably from the 60s on, when we had the revolution, and one of the things that changed the world in terms of men and women, irrevocably changed it. In, I think, 1962 or something like that, the pill, because women got sexual freedom. What happened since that time is we have allowed the ability to have the same sexual freedom as men to infiltrate all of us, that we are the same. And men and women could not be more different. And if we want to win, then we have to cater to that difference. And we are in the position of being the mechanic, and why I only work with women, because women are interested, they understand it, they want to know it, they want to learn it, they want to get better at it, and they succeed at it. Because no man cares one hoot. He doesn't even understand that he doesn't know what he doesn't know. And here's the other thing. He doesn't care that he doesn't know what he doesn't know. He just wants a relationship to be good, feel good, look good, get in the relationship car that is wonderful, comfortable, and goes the distance. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for you now, it is knowing what you know and going forward in a way that will allow you to, it's a two-pronged approach. Knowing that you must not ever be the one to reach out to him, because he has to feel something that may or may not happen to him. We don't know, but he may feel something from having other relationships and realizing, there has to be something more here. And for someone to be the mother of my children, I need someone like Stefana. I need that kind of relationship. You see?
Yep.
Then you have to start it out much more strictly than you did previously.
Yeah.
Even more strictly, because you did it really well. You have to give yourself a lot of credit. It got to the point of him asking you for Thanksgiving because you did it so well.
Yeah.
Truly. So give yourself a lot of credit for that. You must give yourself credit where credit is due. And
well,
then,
that's good. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Then you need to go forward with this new knowledge with other men.
Yes. Yep, I'm coming to that conclusion. I mean, like I said, I had just discovered you like a week ago, and so it's what you have put out there is so much different from so many of these other dating coaches or gurus or experts online. It's in the memes that they put out there. Like you said, it's like you're sold a bill of goods. But you put it in such a makes sense, like no BS type of way. And what I appreciate is you bring in the like biological and anthropological aspect of it, of our brains and just how we've always been as a species.
Thank you for that. I don't want women to suffer because of what they are told. And what you hit on for me, it's so apparent and so painful for me to see. But yes, there are people out there calling themselves coaches, dating and relationship, whatever, and all they are really is spewing out more stuff that's harmful at best. It's certainly hurtful. It is self-serving, on the other hand, because all it's about is self-aggrandizement, making themselves money on social media, and becoming influencers and spewing out stuff about their own lives. And I saw one relationship coach. She is walking up a staircase in her thong bikini, and we see her from the back and talking about female essence or whatever. I mean, it just couldn't be more reckless and awful for young women too, because if you know men and you know they are going to, sure, let's eat that up. I want to see every woman's behind that I can. It's amusing and self-soothing to me as a man. Not going to choose that for their wife or mother of their children. Very simple. And again, when I talk about Madonna whore, which is not mine, it's not even the words that I like to use, certainly not whore, because we know as women, there is no such thing. This is the manifestation of the male brain, and it's biological. Like you said, it's anthropological. Men do this, and back, however old we are, a million of years ago or what have you, it was done in the male brain in a very reptilian way for the chance of the possibility of that baby being the best Darwinian baby it could be, so that it would grow to adulthood. That's all it was about. But in our modern world, foundationally, men choose women, and here is why this is totally throughout the ages why it's been this way. Think about it this way. A man, first and foremost, needs to know that any offspring that come from a pairing with a woman are his. How, heretofore, before DNA, and unless the kid was a carbon copy of him in terms of looks, how did the man ever really know that a child was his? In some senses, he never truly did. So here is how the male brain did it. The ability to trust in the woman, that she is faithful. And because men are inherently not, and they want every woman out there in a sexual way, it's very hard for them to make this delineation that women don't want that. The only way they could do it was a woman showing outwardly that she is chaste, that she's not putting herself out there sexually for all men, and that what she does with him, she could do or would do with any man. So if she were chaste, demure, and showing herself to be in the Madonna category with him, that's how he knew it. And their brain is still that.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Sucks because we know we can be the most sexual thing with a guy ever, and we can be absolutely 100% faithful to him because we only want him, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's just the most maddening thing ever. It's like upside down world. But we are not going to change their mind about it because it is in their reptilian brain. And inherently, men do not trust in the way that we do. And quite frankly, that's a good thing. We should not be trusting the way that we do for the most part. But men don't. They can only know it the way they know it. And because they want and desire every single woman in one way, shape, or form, They feel that we could do that as well, and the only way they can really trust is by us putting ourselves in the first category. And what's happening now is that social media is destroying women's possibilities for that.
I would agree. Yes.
Yes. Yep. Unfortunately, because women want to show their sexy selves and be in their sexy poses and the selfies and the boobs and the butt and all of it. And yeah, they're gorgeous, but it is so hurtful to them to get what it is they really want, because the man wants to know once you put that out there, it immediately clicks up second category. He'll have fun with you. All men are fun with you.
Yeah.
And he may even fall in love with you. Try to get him over the hump, though, of committing to that and you being wife and mother. We need to attend to the male Madonna Hort Freud. That's it. It's that simple. And when we do it, we can get what we really desire, deserve, and then be the most sexual we want to be with him privately and only for him. I would recommend for you, this would be my recommendation. Again, it's the both and strategy. You have, a 5%, you allow yourself a 5% hope. So the other 95%, you absolutely move on with your life, and you have to put it behind you. Taking all the good that you learned and that it brought you to this place, and you said now you're understanding a lot more, and you're getting it, and you're understanding why, and hopefully understanding that why for him will be helpful, and I think it will going forward for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would recommend that you do something very simple, like doing my One Love Online to Never Ending Love self-help course. It's inexpensive, it's immediately available, and it gives you everything from the very beginning through to the dating process of online dating. It gives you the templates, cut and paste, when the man texts certain things, everything you need to know so that you absolutely make the man connect the dots and you don't waste your time online doing things that will not lead him to desire you in the way that needs to happen. For example, the first meeting of the fishing, that really can't happen because it's not going to set you up in the right way for his desire. You'll get in that, and it's very inexpensive. Again, it goes right to your inbox, and you can do it right away at your pace. You can go through it as much as you want immediately, and it is incredibly helpful. Women tell me it is a game changer. Because it really is, because it puts the man in that position of having to achieve online in much the same way as in real life. You'll get the where, when, and how of doing that first meeting. You'll get what has to happen immediately before that first meeting to set you up in the right way. So that's one thing that would change. One of the things that you did really well, I want you to hear this, is that you had him coming to you. That's great. That's what he achieved, right? Doing that helped give him that feeling. But there's these other little things that if you learn them, you will be well on your way to doing online in a way that sets you up for real success. And I would recommend that.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's easy enough to do. You just go to CoachPaulagrooms.com/programs. I have 2 One Love programs. One is my 12-week course. The other is the self-help program. And with the self-help course, which is, it's the money that you spend on it, it's just so low, and so it's going to be available to you. It's a lifetime. You have it. And what you get most out of it is you do the course, and any time you get one full coaching intensive experience with me that is recorded back, you can refer to again and again. And if you need more and want more, there's always a way to parlay that into getting into my full 12-week course. So I would highly recommend that for anyone who is in any way. It's not just if something has gone awry for you. It's if you're doing online dating at all, this is a game changer. The third step in the program, I can't even tell you how that changes things for the man to really set you up for being desired, wanted, and it gives you all the absolute blueprint templates for what you say, how you say it. You don't even have to think when you're texting them back to get to that first meeting. And it goes all through the first meeting, and then the dating afterward, the texting in between. I can't say enough about it in terms of being helpful.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah.
I hope you'll check it out. And I thank you for doing this today, because I hope it's given you some clarity on what happened and where you go from here, in a way.
It has. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I think that was really helpful for anyone who is looking back over a relationship that didn't go the distance. Stefana did so many things correctly, as I said, and there are just little tweaks that we don't know. Things like the first meeting, and where to have that, when to have it, how long. Oh my goodness, that is huge. These little things are deeply psychological for the male. We are the connectors. And when we connect, we can keep connecting and keep connecting. And it fills us mostly. For the man, it fills him in the moment, but that's all it does. It doesn't inspire his deepest desire. We have to be working with those approaches from the moment the man sees us in a profile pic online. And I don't mean his sexual desire, because you, as the puppy you are, whether you're big or small, short or tall, thin or not thin, white, black, red, green, it doesn't matter. The right man will be attracted to you, and when you do things in the right way to lead him down that path, you can have things go the distance. Anyone who is online dating, please think about doing the One Love Online to Never Ending Love, 7 Simple Steps to Digital Dating Success, the self-help course. You can dip your toe in because it is so incredibly affordable. There was a coach I was conferring with about something else we were doing. We were doing a podcast, and she looked at it and she said, oh, wow, you're giving this away at this price. This is just an unbelievable course. You're getting so much from this. So much work has gone into it. And that's true. But I am offering it. If you're hearing me, whenever you're hearing me, it's the lowest price it will ever be. Because I know the value it brings. I just released it, if you're hearing this, in early 2021. And so it is at a value that is ridiculously low, and you get a one-time, one love coaching call intensive experience. The whole thing is a game changer for women. It gives me so much hope and pleasure to do this, because online, you, as the pretty puppy you are, can just go through so much time wasting and frustration. And the worst thing is that when that happens to you, you can decide to just get offline. And that's unfortunately where men are going now. And if you are not online, you have much less of a chance to meet men organically. It's just the way it is. And men are going there as never before online, and they're not even looking when they are out now. As one young man put it in an article, why should I go to a bar or place to hang out or wherever and spend money when I can be home on an app and have a wonderful, beautiful girl in my room? If I swipe enough and I'm doing, my shtick enough, have somebody in my apartment that night. Why should I? Oh my gosh, right? But if we take that from the place he's talking about all the way out to men who are more serious, it's the same thing. They're not going out in the same way to meet women because they feel that that's kind of a crapshoot, when the women that they desire in a huge way, in huge numbers, are online, and they can set up their life and set up dates with those women and then go out and do sports things and meet their guy friends for beers or whatever it is, go to the gym, do all of this, and not be bogged up in their minds with having to meet women that way. It's an unfortunate thing because it takes the organic way that we have met for thousands of years, meaning eye to eye, exchanging pheromones in person. It takes that away, right? But what we hope to do, and what is done in the One Love course, which I have for 12 weeks for anyone who's interested in that. But if you want to do the self-help course at a ridiculously low price, the value is there for you in a big, big way. You can get that. You can do it at your own pace. And then when you are ready, you can have your One Love, one-time coaching intensive with me, get your questions answered. That alone is over the value of what the course is costing right now. So I hope you'll do that. Don't forget, Coach Paula Grooms on Instagram and YouTube. You'll get a lot more information, tips, approaches, even some strategy, and be filling your mind with the stuff that works with men so that you can become a real mechanic. And of course, as you know, in terms of being a mechanic, the very first thing you must do is to make him wonder.
Thank you for listening to Make Him Wonder. If you've benefited from today's conversation, please subscribe and share. Connect with Coach Paula at makehimwonder.com. There you can take several relationship evaluations, discover her books and other resources, and find out if one of her personalized coaching programs might be right for you.